Extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile, and profusely average. Hi friends, I'm Maria and welcome back to Cine Club. I recently watched the movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, the movie about Ted Bundy, and I've been waiting to watch this movie since I heard it announced a few months ago. I've read a couple of things about him, I saw the confession tapes on Netflix, and I was really interested to see what they would do with his story. Now if we start by the trailer, it wasn't a great start. It just made it all look too smooth and cool and with the guitar music in the background. It just immediately gave people the impression that they were gonna try to sympathize with him or make him seem cool in a weird way or glamorize his life, which is really not the way you want to go, but you know, you have to give it the benefit of the doubt and see what the movie's going to be like. And after watching the movie, I can say that it didn't exactly glamorize his life, but it didn't really give a full, whole perspective of who Ted Bundy was. First things first, let's talk about the acting. While I think it was pretty good in general, there were definitely moments where you felt like someone was reading a script and not necessarily acting out an emotional scene. I think Zac Efron did his absolute best. He had really interesting moments where you could see that he was trying to become this strange character. But I have issues with Zac Efron, and I don't know if this is just me. It's really hard for me to look at Zac Efron and see a character, see him playing a role. To me, it's Zac Efron, so it's very hard to get that out of my head. That may not have happened to everybody, but it happened to me, so I really struggled to see Ted Bundy come to life, so to speak. Lily Collins was okay playing Ted Bundy's girlfriend Liz. I was really hoping they would flesh out more their relationship since it was kind of tumultuous and strange, even though he always did try to pretend to be a gentleman and supposedly treated her with quite a lot of kindness and love. There was still a very odd dynamic between them. He was incredibly manipulative, a pathological liar, so I really did wish they had done something more with that. Instead, what we had with Lily Collins was just some kind of like blah, contradictory character. So Liz is supposed to be Ted's first long-term relationship. And the story is supposed to be through her perspective, finding out that the person you love the most did all these horrible things, doubting yourself, wondering if you should support them or back away. But I never got a sense that she was in a major mental breakdown apart when she was not wearing a lot of makeup or drinking some kind of alcohol. The emotional scenes where you felt like she was supposed to bring it out didn't really come out, so you're just left with a very awkward moment and an equally awkward response to whoever person she's speaking to. However, I think the acting was fine if they had just focused more on what they wanted to portray. I think this movie's biggest mistake was the tone it was carrying out, the one it committed to all the way through. So the movie focuses a lot on the side of Ted Bundy, sort of this front that he portrayed to everyone, that he was charismatic, that he was polite, that he was clean-cut, good-looking. And for the first 30 minutes of the movie, you can kind of understand that's the only perspective you get, because you want to kind of doubt and believe him. But as the movie continues on and you don't get to see that dark side of him at all you're left with is a really boring courtroom drama in which you're not sure if this guy at all committed these crimes. And it doesn't really help that you don't get a lot of biographical historical context. If you know nothing about Ted Bundy other than he was a serial killer before watching this movie, you are not going to get a lot out of this at all. So basically they don't show you any of the murders. And I think that might have something to do with respect to the victims, since these are real cases and these are real people who were raped and murdered by this horrible human being. And I can kind of understand that's the case if you don't want to be gratuitous, if you don't want to like exploit that, that's absolutely fine. But I still think they should have shown certain scenes or certain moments in which he's either preparing or looking at one of his victims and planning on how he's going to approach them. And if you don't want to show anything else, that's fine, because God knows the things he did were incredibly unspeakable and horrible. But at least something, show something to that side, because otherwise all you get is this man who is being wrongfully accused according to him and the people who love him, and that's not enough for you to portray a serial killer. One of the reasons why we love murder documentaries or serial killer movies or any kind of biography about this is because it's so far away from what we know or what we would even do that you kind of want to understand the pattern, the strategy, what went through their heads when they decided to do these things. Now with Ted Bundy, there's not a lot of reason why. He never really said why he did these things. He always said that he was a good person, so to speak. But he was so smart in his crimes, and it would have been really interesting to see that side of it. He was a law student. He knew how the police worked at the time. He knew what they were going to investigate, the things that they were not going to care for. He knew that at the time they were not connecting murders from different states. So all of these little details helped him to get away with all of these crimes for so long. But none of that was really included. We don't see any of that in this film. So ultimately what this film lacked was balance. If you don't know fully who you are looking at and this character analysis of this serial killer, then you don't have a complete opinion about it. And I think they tried to leave it all for one final moment at the end, which was a good moment, but it was a 20-second moment in which we are completely confirmed that his crimes were real, that he actually did do this, and he's not actually delusional about whether he did it or not. But it just wasn't enough if you're gonna watch an hour and 50-minute movie. You need this spread out throughout the movie. You need to know what you're dealing with, and you need balance, so you can understand that this isn't some fairy tale relationship that might have gone wrong, that you can understand that he had this behavior throughout his entire life. And also knowing all of this and showing this would make the moments where he's trying to be very charismatic and put on this performance all the more effective. Because if you can get away with that in those moments, and Zac Efron can make you believe that he's actually a good guy even though you have seen these things, it's all the more interesting, really. So if you were looking for an amazing Ted Bundy's type of biographic movie, I think you're gonna have to wait, because this one isn't it. So overall, I think I'm gonna give this movie with a very, very, very long title a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5. Yeah, let's go for a 5. So guys, that was my opinion on this Ted Bundy movie. Let me know if you've seen it. What did you think about it? You can let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of it, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you look for a Cineclub channel. That's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it, and I will see you on our next movie date. Bye!